Time to do an Essen haul video. You know, if you say that really quickly, it sounds like you're saying effing. Like, this is an effing haul video. So, first things first. I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer. I still have a squeaky table. This is Devin Talks Tabletop, the YouTube channel where the games are made up. What I say doesn't matter. And I still have a squeaky table, but I still have at least some tea in my mug. Timestamp. Cheese knife. This is my haul video. And what I mean by that is I got like 4 games. I don't know, haul is kind of like a weird word. It almost sounds like we're Vikings. So whenever a content creator puts out a video and they're like, it's a haul, it's like, I feel like we're Viking raiders who plundered board game publishers. And that's not really like my vibe right now. I really didn't set out to get a ton of games. There was one game that I went to Essen for. There was 2. There were 2 games that I went there for. One of which I didn't necessarily need it right away, which was War of the Ring, the card game. And then there were other ones that I was excited about. I actually think as a joke. Yeah, I think as a joke, I think I'm just going to do, because I didn't get to do it, I think I'm going to do a top games to look forward to at Essen. Maybe I'll see if Jeremy wants to do it with me, because we were supposed to, but we could do one later now. Top games to look forward to. And I could just read the list that I never got to, because it was a pretty good list. The main game I was the most excited for is this one right here. And thankfully, Clay from Capstone Games was super kind and gave me this. I'm excited to play this. I want to play this with Alex, especially, because him and I are both very fond of Watergate. But other than that, I really didn't go with it like an intent to, I want to get a bunch of games. Like, that wasn't really my vibe. It was more, I wanted to go meet a lot of the European contacts and people that I talked with so much, and I just didn't really get the opportunity to talk to, and now I do. So that's definitely like one thing I was excited for, but this is my haul video. My haul video. Let's go plunder games. The first thing I'm going to show off is not actually a game, it's my new wallet. So if you guys know, I like Secrid or Secrid, which is a company in the Netherlands that makes these wallets, which are RFID blocking, and so you can put your cards in here and there's not any threat of like people stealing your information. And then also they have this really nifty technology where it's just a small lever, but it pops up your cards, and it pops up your cards at a like, what would that be called? Layered angle, to where you can kind of easily grab whichever one you want. Now, technically, they say you can put like 6 to 10 cards in here. I only have about 4, and that's because the more you put in, the harder stress you put on this little lever, and I prefer to put as little amount on it as possible to where I can extend the lifespan. So I already had one of these wallets, and then there was a very kind fan. His name is Sean, and he's actually the one that's working with me on the merch, which I need to get back to. I looked at those today. I need to get back to him on that. And so instead of my regular one, which is like brown with a black casing, he got me blue and orange to kind of go with some of the themes of Devin Talks Tabletop. And then he put Devin Talks Tabletop with Squeak on it, which I think is just pretty epic. So I've got, a merch or branded wallet now, which I'm very happy with. And I was able to give a friend of mine who I met there, Toby, I was able to give him my old wallet so he can have that now and enjoy that. And I've got this one. So yeah, that's the first part of my haul, which is even more special to me than the games, because it was a nice fan who gave it to me. I appreciated that. I actually have 5 games. One of them may never arrive. It is with the lost luggage. I had 2 bags, one of which got lost. It never made it to DFW through like Madrid or whatever. So that bag, maybe I'll get it back. If I do get it back, then it will come, thankfully, with a copy of Human Punishment: The Beginning from Godot Games. Godot Games is someone that I'm familiar with through my work with Jesse over at Quackalope. And then also I'm going to be taking a look at their upcoming game, Among Cultists, which is kind of based off of Among Us and that social deduction, but they've layered that into a board game. I'm excited to look at it. But one of their earlier titles, Human Punishment at the Beginning, that's haul number 1 outside of the wallet, and that isn't here because it's inside of a suitcase. These were inside of a suitcase, but that suitcase made it home with me. The other suitcase did not. So, moment of silence timestamp for Human Punishment at the Beginning, which could come in the mail at some point. Ooh. That's the last of the tea. All right. What else did I get from Essen? I got Fire and Stone, Siege of Vienna, 1683. This is where one player is going to be the Habsburg defenders and one player is going to be the Ottoman attackers who are laying siege to this Viennese city. This is 2 players. It's going to be about 60 to 90 minutes, so it's a longer game than Watergate, but it is, I think, still got that kind of like tug of war, push and pull element that makes Watergate so satisfying. It does have a nice visual of like that dubba 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 dubba. It's got the dubba dubba dubba. It's got the bada bada bada. I'm going to do unboxings of all of these in another video, so I'm not going to do that in this video. I'll just do separate ones to where you can kind of individually see them and not have to look at all of them if you don't want to. But this is a game by Robert Dulesky and graphic design by Domhnall Hegarty. So I kind of like the more military simulation or war game kind of like beigeness to it. I normally don't like that, but I think like in a historical setting, I actually don't mind that. And I'm excited to see what happens here and see how the physical element of a siege on the board works with what I'm familiar with as kind of like really crisp, clever card playing two-player experience. So I'm interested to see what this is. I'm really excited about this. This was probably one of my biggest ones of the entire convention that I was looking forward to checking out. So I'm excited about Fire and Stone. Next one is Astra. Astra is from Mind Clash Games. This was one of the relationships that I was excited to go out and meet him in person. I see Clay all the time at U.S. conventions. He's at a lot of them. And so Essen is not like the particular one in which I would only get to meet him. I see him at other venues, but Mind Clash is not a company. Even though they're at other conventions, a lot of the people that I seem to communicate with are more like European based, and so they're not at the U.S. ones that I've been to, at least in the last year and a half, which granted, COVID, pandemic, and just like the state of the world sometimes makes it to where this last year and a half may not be reflective of what a normal convention season is going to be. Astra is probably, the lightest game that Mind Clash has done. They've started to create some more, not like digestible offerings, but like they've made some titles that are more approachable maybe than some of their deepest, heaviest stuff like Dracarion or Anachrony or Perseverance, chapters 1 and 2. They came out with Septima, which, I watched, Jesse and Shira and West get to play Septima, so that was really cool. And I didn't get to, but I was excited to look at it. And then Astra is a game for, how many players was it? Was it 2 to 5, 2 to 6, or 1 to 5? How many players? 5 player aid cards. So I'm going to assume 5 players. There you go, 2 to 5. That's how reading works, guys. That's how reading works. So Astra is a game for 2 to 5 players. It's supposed to take 20 minutes a person. So, if you're playing 2, you're looking at 40. If you're looking at 5, you're looking at an hour and 40 minutes. So that does scale a decent bit in terms of player time length. But it is a very pretty game. A very pretty game which has a lot of constellations, which makes sense given the title. Parad Astra, that sounded so lame. Don't ever let me say that again. Wow, that sounded terrible. I know I just recently unboxed episode 2 of Vengeance Roll and Fight, which I haven't played yet. And now I have episode 1 of Vengeance Roll and Fight, which I haven't played yet. I have a problem. If I get the second of something first, numerically then I want the first. I don't, like if I'm watching a movie or a book, I don't read the sequel first. I read the first one. And that may be fine, you know. In a game like this, these could be completely disconnected from each other in terms of narrative. But it's like, I wanted the first one. And so Evelyn, who was absolutely wonderful, and I was absolutely delighted to get to meet her and talk with her in person. She works at Mighty Boards. I had a great conversation with her, and then, you know, I was also able to walk away with a copy of Vengeance, Roll and Fight, Episode 1. This, I think I kind of ascribed it to it, a description of like Hotline Miami, or kind of those like really kinetic, violent, but also arcadey fighting games, like that are almost like, you know, 2D top down, and you're just kind of cruising through and trying to do stuff like a mobile explorative like Street Fighter, you know. And I really am excited to check this one out. It's very simple, but seems to be very satisfying. And also, Jeremy Howard got me super intrigued by the larger game that this is based off of, Vengeance, because that just sounded right up my alley. So I'm excited to check this out, excited to check out Episode 2, and excited to do content on it, and also just play it. And the last one of the games that I have, minus Human Punishment at the beginning, is Banner Festival. Tidal Blades Banner Festival. This is a trick-taking game, but it's a very clever trick-taking game because in a lot of trick-taking games, I've said trick-taking a lot now, in most games of this genre, it matters that you are the winner of the trick. You want to, even if you don't want to win all of the tricks, when you are trying to succeed, you are trying to win it. Maybe you only want to win 2 of the 15 tricks, but you want to win those 2. And in this, winning is not always the best option. In this, there's so many different choices. This is a racing game, but there's several different ways to score points. You can score by creating area control at certain locations around the racetrack with your banners, and that happens whenever you're not first, not last, but actually in the middle pack is when you get the most amount of time to place banners at different regions' towers and at different quadrant towers. But then another way is when you go to certain locations, you can pick up fruit. And when you pick up fruit, that also will maybe instigate or initiate a feast at some point when the fruit runs out. So fruit and feasting grants points. The area control grants points. And then the racing itself grants points. Every lap you do, you get to flip a card. And the more cards you flip, the more points you get at the end of the game. So there's just a lot of design elements here that I actually really, really appreciate. And I've already played this game. This is not a title that I'm unaware of. I played this game for the Play the Game series, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I was kind of surprised by how clever I thought the trick-taking twists were in the design. And so, you know, I had the absolute pleasure of seeing Bree, who I like a lot. I love Bree. She's awesome. And so I got to spend some time with her, had a little bit of a content creation meeting with her, and, you know, now I was able to take one of these copies home, which I'm excited by. Excited by that because I really like this one. So Tidal Blades Banner Festival. I'm getting a little cold, like the air is on in here, guys. I'm normally a hot-natured person, but I am rather chilly right now. So that is my haul video. I came home with 4 games and a new wallet and a whole bunch of good friends. So wallet's awesome. Thank you, Sean, for that. Super, super kind of you. All of you people who have been giving me, you know, tabletop themed stuff, I really appreciate it. You're all wonderful, wonderful individuals. I'm excited to check out these games. Interested to see if Human Punishment at the beginning reappears out of the void that is baggage claim issues. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. I've got some other stuff here I'm excited about. This is Warhammer. This is Forbidden Stars. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. Hope you guys have a good one. Let me know what you're excited for, and I am going to go ahead and do some other stuff. Hope you have a good one. Remember, do what you want to do, and don't let anyone tell you not to do that unless it's something that would be invasive or intrusive upon them, in which case they do have a little bit of say in how that goes. So remember that the important thing about life is that if you have the time to play games, always value and balance whether it's the right time to play games, and maybe you also need to clean the kitchen. I had to clean the kitchen this morning, and let me tell you, I feel better now that it's clean because I can kind of like focus more because it's not dirty anymore. And, you know, when you're thinking about sign-offs like these, I know that this is probably one of the smoothest, and, you know, it's got a high focus on brevity, but always keep in mind what I want you guys to remember when you're watching this and you're still here at the end of this is that the key value in life is medium expectations for maximum effort. And if you're wondering what that means, I'm not sure. So, thanks for being here.